Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Sewing with Romney. This is your second lesson. Now this is a channel that is great for people who've never ever sewn before. You're learning from scratch how to do things. I find sometimes sewing can be a little nerve-wracking for people. They think they're not creative or that they couldn't do it. And I'm here to tell you anybody can sew, and I'm here to show you some very easy projects. So the first project we did was sewing a pillow. So that was pretty easy. I mean, it was a long video, so I'm gonna try and shorten my videos this time. I just wanted to show you what we're gonna work on today, and then I'm gonna also show you some other projects that are coming up. So we have a glasses case. So you can use it for your sunglasses or your regular glasses. And these just pop right in here. And it's perfect size, and you tip it upside down, they will not fall out, okay? So this one's very plain. I'm gonna teach you how to do a very plain one. You can see my stitching there. I did a different color so you can actually see it. But yeah, you can actually blend in your stitching if you want. I'm gonna show you some other ones I did. So that one I did for my husband because it's pretty plain. This one I did for me, so I pieced a couple of pieces of vinyl together. So you can use vinyl or leather. And then I made some really cute ones with animals. So this is my own design. That is an emperor penguin. It's so cute. It's just two pieces of vinyl that I cut out, and I put them, actually appliqued them on, if you could see. Okay, and that I use coordinating thread. So you can kind of see the coordinating thread here. You don't really see it as well. So it all depends on what you want. See how you can see the thread here? So if you want to see the thread, you want your sewing to be pretty perfect. So I always like to make things before I show you how to do them, because I kind of want to iron out the mistakes and things. Sometimes it's good for you to see mistakes because we all learn from them and we all make them. But I do find that my stitching here is a little bit too tight. You can see, so I would actually increase my stitch length the next time. I'd probably put it at maybe a 3 or even a 4. My machine automatically does about 2.5. So I just found when I lengthened my stitch, it looked much better. Then we also have a cutest little polar bear. That's also my own design. And on the back, I pieced it with some other fancy colors. A lot of these vinyls and leathers are metallic-y. I really like the metallic shiny stuff. I like sparkly things. Then I made my owl. So these are all patterns I actually use for my mittens. So I just incorporated into the sunglass cases. Now, the next thing I want to show you is how do you buy vinyl? Where do you buy vinyl? Well, you can buy it at any of your local fabric stores. You can buy it online. I figured out that if you buy just 1/4 meter, you can actually make 6 of these. If you buy 1/2 meter, you can make 12, and so on and so on. So you only have to cut a 15-inch piece, and remember, vinyl and leather don't stretch either way, so it doesn't really matter which way you cut it, because you just want to get the most out of your fabric. So you're going to want to cut the pieces 15 inches by 4 inches, and then I'll show you how to do that, okay, in a few minutes. Other things that I wanted to let you know about is, this is what I used. Now this is an upholstery book that I got for free from a place that, you know, sold leather furniture, right? So any of the places that sell furniture, often they throw these books out, and believe it or not, it's one of the biggest things that go in the landfill. So it's really nice to save these things from going in the landfill, because a lot of these places are happy to give you these books for free. Just go in and ask. This one, I think, some of them come from Lazy Boy. I have gone in there and asked for them, but one of my friends, she had someone who had a place in Toronto, and they just gave us all kinds of upholstery fabrics. And then I had this leather sample book, and I really didn't know exactly what to do with it, but I kept it, and now I found the perfect project to show you guys. So as you can see, there's all different colors in here, and what's really cool about this is these are exactly 5 inches wide, so only a small amount gets cut off. So we do 4 inches wide. So this is going to be basically the width of your wallet, or not your wallet, your pouch, and it's gonna be folded. So we have to actually sew a few pieces together because these are not 15 inches long. So one of the things you need to do is you need to take out these. See those staples? They're actually really, really, really thick staples. So you'll hurt your hands if you don't have the proper tools to take them out. So the best tool is this one. So you just go in your husband's toolbox and don't tell him, and you steal his stuff and you use it to take those out. And it doesn't take much to take them out. The other thing is if you have your own toolbox, then that's good for you. Awesome. I don't really do a lot of stuff with tools. So you just take it under here and you just pull until you get that out. The other tool you can use is this one. That you can kind of jimmy it out as well. And then there's also this one. So you can pull it out with that as well. So you just reef on it until you can get it out. So you just kind of try a different few tools, whatever you have at home, and pull that apart. I'll show you what it looks like when I've taken that all off. Okay, so I've got the staples out. Look how huge they are. They're really, really, really long. They just take a little bit of muscle to get them out. There's usually about 4 or 5 in there. Actually, this one probably had 6. And so then, as you can see, it keeps it in the book with the staples. So then you just pull those right out. And now you got all these ones. Now sometimes they're glued together as well, which is fine. But if you see this piece, for example, it has a couple of staple marks there, so you don't want that, obviously. Just chop that off. So then you get a longer piece. And then you'll also see on the back there's paper here. I usually cut this off. This part is actually good for the applique part when I did my owls because it's a bit stiffer because it has the paper on it. So that actually makes it thicker and you can sew right through that, so that's no problem. But I will cut this off here. I'll just chop that off there and I'll chop this off here, so I'll have a piece that's about this long. So this isn't 15 inches, but we'll just piece a few pieces together. Now the other thing you can do is you can go out and you can buy vinyl, and vinyl is really, really cheap. So you can probably get a meter for $10 and you can get it in all different colors. You can go to your local store or you can get it online. So those are some great ideas. And some of the other things we're going to be doing are the next upcoming sessions. We're going to be making these cute little makeup bags. And you can use them as pencil cases too. You can put people's names on them. You can put all kinds of goodies in there. Could be a little treat bag, junk food bag, anything. So I do like a cute little surprise fabric on the inside. One of my friends, she's going on a trip to France, and so she really wants to make some with French flags. So when I do that session, I'm going to actually make a French flag on the front, and then we're going to have French flag fabric on the inside, which will be so cool. So yeah, you could do flags, you could do for traveling, you could do all kinds of neat things. The other thing I wanted to show you is this is a 9-inch zipper, so you can buy these anywhere. You can buy whatever size zipper you want. So whatever size pre-made zipper you buy is how big your pouch is going to be. So you actually measure it the exact length of your zipper, and that's the size your pouch is going to be. Or you can make your pouch any size by using this amazing stuff, Sally Tomato. It's actually a zipper that you can cut. It's made of nylon, so you actually can cut and sew right over it. It is awesome. And then I'll show you how to do that in that video when that upcoming video comes. And this one, see, it's much bigger, so I made it whatever size I wanted. And their zipper pulls are really pretty. You can get like gold, silver, all different colors. But yeah, you can just buy their stuff online. Some of the fabric stores in your community may have this product as well, but you can tell it's very high quality, really good quality zipper. And on the inside, we have a cute little surprise hearts. I thought that would be nice for Valentine's is coming up. And you can put really funny sayings on it too, rude ones, but this one says classy, sassy, and a bit smart-assy. So that's for someone specific. That actually is smart-assy. Okay, and then another project that's coming up, I did a vote on my Facebook page of different pillows that people wanted to see. And one of the winners, because actually a lot of people voted for the rabbit. I had a rabbit, a horse, and what else? What other one did I have? Oh yeah, the polar bear. Everybody wanted the polar bear. So I've decided, you know what? I'm going to probably do all of them. Anyways, I wanted to see how far I've come along on the little lamb. He's so cute, and he just needs a little bell here, and he needs a tassel here. And I know it's not Christmas, but you know, he's really cute. I had to make him. Okay, and then the next thing we're going to do on that's going to be a whole other session. Another session is going to be how to make a fleece blanket. So we're going to just do like a little lap blanket. This is one I made for my son. It's all basketballs, of course, on it. I've made him ones that are for his bed, so you can make any size you want. So this one is his team, Montreal Canadiens. And then, so that stuff is actually quite a bit more expensive, the different teams. But you know what? It's not really a lot anyways. But it does cost more. Just want to make you aware of that. And this is just a basic like hockey stick one. So this one's quite a bit cheaper than the branded ones. And the other thing is you piece these ones together because they're only so wide. So I'll show you that in that video. So the sample one I'm going to make in that video is going to be a baby quilt. And because Valentine's is coming up, we got a cute little heart one. So this one is 1 meter long. I can actually make 2 baby crib quilts with that. I should say blankets, they're not really quilts. And I picked more of a peachy pink for the backing. I think that'll be really cute. And so those are our upcoming shows. Now I'm going to show you how to make the sunglasses case. Okay, so I'm going to pull my pieces of vinyl out of this book. The ones that I wanted, I've already put a yellow piece of paper on. So some of these are a bit glued together, so I'm just going to kind of tear some of these off. Sometimes there's another staple further down, which this one does have that actually. So I'm just going to keep pulling until I get that off. And it's fine if you rip it a little bit because it's only going to rip at the top. There's still a lot of the leather. So this is awesome to be able to use this. I was trying to figure out what I was going to use it for, and I kept it and I didn't want to get rid of it. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you can even make these out of suede. Suede would be good. If you found a pair of old suede pants at Value Village, that would be cool too. So, because any of these kind of fabrics, you don't have to worry about it fraying, right? So this is the piece, one of the pieces I picked. I'm just going to do a very basic plain one for you. I'm not going to do any appliques. If you want to do appliqued ones, you can always ask me for my pattern. I'm willing to share my patterns with people. And so you can put any pattern on it. You could actually cut out some red vinyl and do like cute little hearts. Put someone's name on it. You could freehand cut things. Like you don't have to have a pattern. What I always tell people is just go online, look in coloring books. You can also check out silhouettes is what I usually look up for some of my patterns or shapes I want to use. I just look up, like if I want a dog shape, I'll look up whatever dog I want, like whatever dog breed. And then you can just trace it and cut it out. So I use a light box for my tracing, but you can also just use your window. So there's all kinds of cool ideas. However, I'm just going to show you how to do a basic one that's going to be plain. There, got that off. So those are my, I think I need just 4 pieces. Okay, so those are my pieces there. All right, so I'm going to put that aside. Now, I'm going to show you here that this measures, again, remember in my first video I showed you how to use this by cutting all the fabric for the pillows. Now, if you want to not buy a cutting board and not invest in a rotary cutter, that's totally fine. you can still use scissors and a pencil. But remember, these pieces are the right width, so you don't have to cut anything off. They're just not the right length. So you just need to add another piece. Actually, this one might even be good with 2 pieces. That's actually awesome. No, you know what? I gotta cut that piece of paper off and that off. So yeah, you're gonna need like probably 3. So we're gonna actually join these pieces together. However, I'm gonna cut these little bits off here, okay? So yeah, if you were gonna use just a regular ruler, like your kid's ruler or whatever with a pencil, you'd cut this off with scissors. I'll just show you how to do that. Get my pair of scissors. Just chop this off, okay? Okay, you're gonna cut that off. And you're gonna cut this off. And then you're gonna chop this off. You can just eyeball it. Like, you can use a ruler if you really wanna be perfectly straight. I mean, it takes 2 seconds to use a little ruler, right? I'm just cutting with scissors, just across. That's all you gotta do. Now we're gonna conjoin these together. See, I like to make it so that it's perfectly straight across, but I'm just gonna do it pretending I don't have a rotary cutter, okay? So you're just gonna sew that together. And I'm gonna also cut this piece because we're gonna need a 3rd piece for this project. That wasn't very good cutting. Okay, I'm gonna cut this off. So this side is straighter, so I'm gonna use this side, and then this side I'm gonna cut off a piece of that anyway, so that doesn't matter. So we're gonna sew this, you can do it this way, and this one up here, or you can do this one down here. Doesn't really matter, it's whatever you want. I just kinda do whatever I think at the time. So I'm gonna sew these together with my foot right at the edge here. So regular seam allowance. And I'm gonna do the same on this side. I'll pull that open and I'll sew this one on here. Okay, as long as you got your right sides together, it's just gonna become one long piece. So I'm gonna come back with that sewn. Okay, so I'm just gonna sew these pieces together here. Just using the edge of my foot as my guide. And I'm actually gonna press my fix button, but if you don't have that on your machine, you just use your back stitch, okay? This is your back stitch here. And I have an automatic cutter on my machine. Just gonna turn it around so you can see it better. It's pretty awesome. I just press this button and it actually cuts my thread. Now, I'm gonna open that up for you and show you how it's sewn there. And see, isn't that awesome? It's already sewn together. Now, the other thing I meant to mention is you have to use a leather needle, okay? Otherwise, you might break your needle off. So you do want to use specific leather needles, and they're always at any fabric store. You can buy those, okay? So now I'm gonna sew the next piece. I'm gonna go, my machine automatically fixes it, like goes back and forward, but you may have to go back and forward. So I'm just gonna press my fix it when I come to the end, and it's done. That's my automatic cutter. So you may have to lift your foot and then cut your thread over here on the side of your machine. But yeah, my machine is pretty advanced, so I don't have to worry about any of that. So for my top stitching, I am gonna use a 3.5 because I like to make it look nicer. So it all depends on where you want to top stitch. So now you're going to top stitch it. You can top stitch on this side or you can top stitch on this side. Doesn't really matter. It depends on what side you're pushing this towards, right? So I think the thread will blend in better because I want to do one where you don't see the thread. Sometimes it's nice when you see the thread, but this one I'm going to do one where it blends in better. So I'm going to use the lighter one. So I'm going to push this over to this side so it's away from the lighter one. Actually, no, you know what? It has to be towards the lighter one. Yeah, so I'm going to use my foot as my guide, and you just stay as straight as you can. And you want it to be a very, very straight line, okay? So sometimes you have to push it through the machine a little bit because it's thick. And if you want to use more of a heavy duty machine, that's fine. This machine's more for quilting, but honestly, it does very well with leather. And I have another machine that I use for my wool mittens because I don't like pushing my wool mittens through this machine. It actually is really hard on it. See, that did a great job. The other thing is my machine does have a setting on it to pick the different kinds of fabrics. However, I just find that the woven medium, which it defaults itself to, is fine. So you're going to see the thread a little bit more on this one. So I think I'm going to do it on that one again. So again, you're going to push this back seam allowance towards the one, because you want to have it sewed down. See how that's sewed down? So now that's not flipping up. It sits nice and flat. So that's why you want to do that, okay? Now I'm going to turn it around this way again because I really want to guide it the exact same distance I did the other one. It doesn't really matter like how close you do it to it, but I try and do it the same. It looks more professional if you just do it pretty close. You don't want to have it over here and a big, it's not even going to hold that down. So you want to have it within that seam allowance. So anywhere within there is good, but just, I'm watching this part of my foot right here. So I'm guiding that exactly along so it's perfectly straight. And then I'm going to back stitch a little bit, or I could have used my Fix-It. I just wanted to show you I had either option on my machine. See that? That looks really good. And then it's sewn all the way down on the back end as well. Okay? Now then, all you have to do is you measure it, and you want to cut it at 15 inches. But now you're going to look and see, where do you want your seam? Do you want it to look like that? Or do you want it to be like, you want to have one of the seams at the bottom? You know, you got to kind of fiddle with it a little bit. So I'm going to go back over to the kitchen and I'm going to figure out where I want it to be. Okay, so what I wanted to show you was when I went over in the kitchen, I basically just put this down and I measured it, okay, on my cutting board. And you can do it like with a pencil again. Actually, pen is better with the leather. So you just do it on the opposite side and then you just measure it and then you cut it accordingly. So you can eyeball it or use your ruler to cut it and draw lines like we did with the pillow. Now, if you're folding it in half, which I need you to do, it's going to be 7.5, right? Because 7.5 and 7.5 is 15. So that's all you want it to be. So you're basically want to fold it in half and cut it like that, because then you know what it's going to look like on either side. And that these are going to match up, right? So it's going to look better when these two things here match up. Okay? And so this is what your case is going to look like. So now what you have to do, this is such a fast project. I know it's taken me a long time to explain it to you, but honestly, these take 10 minutes to make. So you're gonna turn it down a little bit, maybe 1/2 inch. You're just gonna sew along there on either side, okay? So you're turning the right side to the wrong side. You're turning the right side to the wrong side, okay? So we're gonna do that. And I like to actually turn it this way with the wrong side up, because then I can put my foot right on the edge of that. And I'm just gonna, it's gonna fix it for me. It's gonna move forward. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. With this leather and suede or vinyl. I'm using vinyl. I prefer clips, using clips, which I'll show you in a second, rather than pins, because pins actually mark certain fabrics, especially these kind. So look how nice that looks. Okay, now we're gonna do the other side. I'm just eyeballing it. I'm not really being too particular. This is, again, we're not trying to be perfect here. We're trying to just learn how to sew, right? Okay, so you're gonna stick that under your machine. You don't notice me putting up and down my lever because I have that automatically in my machine, built into my machine, but you might have to put your lever up and down, okay? And when you're finished sewing, you might have to pull your lever up and then cut your thread over on your side of your machine. But I might repeat myself sometimes, but it's just important for you to know, because you know, you can't just pull your fabric out of your machine if your foot doesn't automatically come up, right? See how mine automatically comes up? Now we're gonna fix that, and then I'm gonna cut it. And there's the other side. Again, don't have to be perfect, but now we're gonna bring these two together. We're gonna fold it back in half again. And I'm actually gonna cut off these threads. So I'm just gonna pause the video for a second and not take up more time on the video, but see all these long threads? You wanna cut those off because you don't want them getting caught in your seams. So I'm just gonna take a second to do that. Okay, so now I've cut off all my threads, so it's all neat, nice and neat and tidy. Now I'm gonna match up this first here. You want this seam to be perfect here, coming down. So you don't wanna start from the bottom, you wanna actually start from the top. Because we wouldn't want this sewn like this, it would look really bad. So you want this perfectly up here like this. That's why you always start at the top, okay? So we're gonna start at the top, we're gonna hold that in place. Now, if you want to use clips, you can. I just don't. Like, I mean, leather's pretty easy to work with. Again, this is vinyl, but it's the same kind of feel to it. It's really easy to hold it in place. It doesn't really slip or anything, so I actually don't even use pins or clips. And you see that there's a little bit of weight here. That's okay. We're going to cut that off anyways. All these jagged edges, we're gonna cut that off. So we're just doing a regular seam allowance. Whatever your machine defaults to is fine. Now some of you might have to use an even feed foot for this on your machine. If you're finding your regular foot doesn't work, because this material is a bit thicker, you may wanna use your even feed foot, which often quilters use. Now, I'm not gonna go from the bottom to the top. I'm gonna do the same on the other side. I'm gonna turn it around and I'm gonna go from the top again down to the bottom. So you're just doing each side from the top to the bottom. And then we're gonna be done. I can't believe it. This honestly is so fast. And if you wanna complicate things and do some little decals on it like I did with the polar bear, etc., then that obviously takes longer. And you would want to do that before you sew the sides together. So you can piece it first, then do your design. But what I actually did was I did my design on one of the squares first before I even sewed the 4 squares together. This one has 3 squares, but mine was, for my designs, were 4 squares. So, I mean, you could really put your polar bear here or here. You'd have to make them a bit smaller. But there's lots of different ideas. If you go out and buy vinyl, you can do the whole thing in one piece. That would be pretty easy. Then you wouldn't have to piece anything or top stitch anything. It's just one piece, done, right? That would be pretty fast. Okay, so I'm gonna go over and show you how to cut it so that it looks nice and finished. Okay, so now it's done. Now you just have to cut this side off. And you just do it with the scissors. And you're gonna cut it about that close. it all the way up. So it looks like that. And I mean, you could use your rotary cutter if you wanted to, but if you have one, but otherwise just use your sharp pair of scissors. If you really wanted to, you could have a small piece of this stuff, but you'd cut a bigger piece obviously than that. You could have a little loop up here, but you'd have to sew it into your seam before you, like in the side, you could sew it into the seam, and that could hang onto something. So there you go, it's done. Perfectly fits. I'm Romney. Thank you so much for joining me today, and see you next time.